Okay, everyone, the California GOP sent out a memo to party leaders about a new vetting process to keep out and kick out followers of Nick Fuentes, the Nazi apologist and white nationalist. Now, Fuentes has announced a plan to infiltrate the Republican Party and destroy it from within. Now, many of his followers are already placed on various central committees. Some of them are delegates, some of them are running for office as Republicans. Now, the memo alerts the leadership, and I quote, to review organizational bylaws to ensure a process exists to remove members who engage in physical or verbal conduct that brings the party into disrepute, including by aligning with this radical, divisive, fringe ideology, unquote. So it's a directive to kick them out. Now, followers of Fuentes are called Groypers. They're white nationalist, anti-Semitic, and anti-woman. They're also anti-MAGA and hate Donald Trump. Now, they want to infiltrate the party to destroy it from within. I mean, they want to destroy what we have, our way of life. They're anarchists and nihilists, which we could have guessed. Now, the GOP memo says, and I'm quoting, be aware of the strategic goal of Groypers across the nation of their intention to take over and destroy the Republican Party from within, similar to how radical left, woke, progressive Marxists took over and destroyed the Democrat Party. So the California GOP here says the strategy of the Groypers has a precedent. Ultimately, it's about takeover and redistribution, a Marxist strategy. Now, the GOP memo says that Fuentes and the Groypers are hostile to, quote-unquote, constitutional limited government conservatism. So, they're not Republicans, and that's just one reason why they're being kicked out. Now, the Groypers' core belief is that America should be reorganized around an ethnically and culturally identity-based order, modeled closely after Nazi Germany. I mean, their values do not align with the Republican Party's or America's, and the California GOP recognizes that. Now, here's a bit more about Nick Fuentes from CBS News and the Free Press.
What are Nick's intentions, and what are the implications of those intentions for the broader MAGA Republican Party and movement?
Yeah, so Nick's intentions, in his own words, is to infiltrate politics, to take over the Republican Party and bring it in line with some of his more extreme views that are racist, anti-Semitic, and opposed to people of color. It's something that he's been planning on doing, something that he talks about in his stream nightly, but this move to create a foundation is really the next step in that. Yeah, so my report at the Free Press outlines how he is revamping a America First Foundation, which is a 501c4 that allows him to raise money from major donors, create programming. Will not disclose them and be able to give those to candidates moving forward.
Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if the 501c4 status of his organization is revoked, because a 501c4 is supposed to be run as a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization which is legally required to operate for the common good, the general good of the community, and not primarily for political purposes or to benefit an individual. A poorly run and illegal 501c4, for example, would allow a lot of dark money into political campaigns. So I wouldn't be surprised if his organization's 501c4 status is investigated and revoked. About Nick Fuentes. I hesitate to discuss his heritage because, in my view, it does not matter. Okay, that stuff doesn't matter. This video is a fact-based breaking news video, however, so I have to discuss it. I'll just mention that lots of folks are bewildered by his last name, Fuentes. There are plenty of Hispanics who are white. His father is half Mexican, so he's, I guess, 1/4 Mexican. What does that mean? I don't like to discuss race, and one of the reasons is because the discussion always turns antebellum. As I stated, it doesn't matter what his heritage is because you can be racist and anti-Semitic regardless of your heritage. My comment here is that he's only 28 years old, something like that. So as he gets older, he might start to look, as we get older, our appearance can change. Not only in terms of looking older, but our heritage could begin to manifest in our appearance in different ways as we get older. I mean, our appearance is determined by God. Am I right? God determines those things. So the point being, it's a questionable decision to build your entire identity on your outward appearance being a certain thing, especially when you're very young. Now, I just mentioned that because lots of folks have discussed his heritage. I just thought I would add to the discussion on the trajectory of he's young, okay, and based on what I've observed happen to people as they age. And while we're on the subject of appearance, because the Groypers focus on that, they're all about quote unquote looks maxing. I also wanted to comment that Fuentes is a white nationalist, but he hates President Trump, who's about as white can be. Okay, the most famous white man on planet Earth, as a matter of fact. And Fuentes hates Trump. Meanwhile, the California GOP has kicked out the Groypers, and CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference, had Fuentes removed twice in 2023 and 2021. Meanwhile, according to the latest CNN poll, 100% of MAGA supports President Trump. 100%. So it raises the question whether the Groypers can exert influence in politics. Okay, they're such an online phenomenon. The algorithms of social media elevate rage. Okay, that's documented. And Fuentes isn't a viable candidate. Speaking of antebellum echoes, when American voters evaluate candidates, he would not be viable. If your last name is Fuentes and you want to be successful in politics, white identitarianism doesn't work. That's why the mainstream rejects Fuentes. Not only is he racist and anti-Semitic, he doesn't show pictures of his family, okay? In politics, you have to show your family. And sometimes a person can blend in when standing with a group of people. When you're with your family, you blend in there as well. And just off the topic a bit, that's why, in my view, Candace Owens won't win the defamation case filed against her by Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron, because the Macrons are elected world leaders who have been vetted in every possible way. Now, Candace Owens has never stood for public office. She's never been scrutinized in that manner. I wouldn't be surprised if during the lawsuit we all come away going, is Candace Owens really Candace Owens? Is she a man? Is she trans? Meanwhile, Brigitte Macron, by filing the lawsuit, is telling the world, if I have to sit in the witness box like this, I'll do it. Just try me, ho. Just try me. And the issue of vetting is why, in my view, Tucker Carlson, if he decides to run for president, which is the rumor, won't be successful as a political candidate. And President Trump pinpointed exactly why. He said that Tucker Carlson isn't MAGA, and Tucker really isn't smart enough to understand that. So, boom, it's about IQ. Tucker Carlson isn't smart enough. I mean, he even thought he could take over MAGA from President Trump, but no. Trump said Carlson isn't smart enough. Now, we all heard it from the president first. If Carlson runs for president, he will be exposed. For what? His IQ. So the breaking news is that the California GOP has issued a directive to local party leaders to kick out followers of Nick Fuentes and the Groyper ideology. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.